What's up, everybody? This is RJ Rogers here, and I just saw what happened today about CM Punk getting fired, and then Tony Khan addressing the issue, the situation with CM Punk. He didn't say the name of the individual he fired. He only briefly talked about. He wasn't going into details. He's saying, "Oh, I went to my dad's lawyer. He's here tonight, and all this other stuff." First of all, this is damage control at its finest. Tony Khan just decided to go out there before AEW Collision, and if you saw some of the stuff on YouTube, there were folks uploading this on YouTube addressing the crowd. It's like the last thing I want to do is go out there knowing the wrestler that everybody wanted to see is no longer with the company, has been fired on the same day he's addressing this. I don't know, man. To me, I don't think Tony Khan made the right choices. I mean, he decided to go out there and address the crowd, and what did we expect? The crowd was booing the hell out of him. They don't care what he had to say. They don't care if he's a wrestling fan. Oh, I'm a wrestling fan. Now, I will give him some little bit of credit. At least he made a step into taking control. But even though it was a little too late. But I feel as though Tony Khan did not handle this situation well. He decided to go listen to higher ups. He decided to listen to the family lawyers. It was recommended by them for him to fire CM Punk, which I think them lawyers need to be fired. Because one, AEW Collision was built around CM Punk. Warner Brothers, the executives of Warner Brothers wanted CM Punk on that show. Now you got rid of the biggest star. And if you even listen to Jim Cornette, I know everyone's got negative things to say about Jim Cornette, but one thing about the guy that is so true, he knows what he's talking about. And apparently, this is something I've been saying on my podcast show for months. Tony Khan is not a good leader. And we just saw sample after sample after sample every time it deals with another wrestler. He does not handle the situations firmly. He lets things fall out of place only when it gets super worse to where, physical altercations take place. Now he finally steps in. He should have known better. But this is the type of American manager that you're going to see in every workplace. Tony Khan's a prime example of it. He's that weak leader that wants to reap the benefits of being a leader, but he doesn't want to take responsibility. And now that he knows he has to run this company, but the biggest problem that's going to hurt him in the long run, you got rid of your biggest star. And let's face it, and I'll be the first of many fans to say it, CM Punk was a bigger major star than MJF. I don't care. I don't care what the AEW audience is going to say. Let's face it. AEW can't get new people to watch the show. They can't even get new audiences to watch the show because no one knows who these wrestlers are. Only a handful of them. They know who Chris Jericho is. They know who Christian is. They know who, if they kept Dean Ambrose's name, which they can't because WWE legal team, they would have known who that guy was. They might have heard of Kenny Omega. They may have heard a lot about the Young Bucks. But you can only think of so many wrestlers who's been on that show that's been with WWE. All these other wrestlers, the general audience don't know who the heck these guys are. The storylines are everywhere. There is really no true storylines in these matches. You know, Samoa Joe, everyone knows who Samoa Joe is because he's been on WWE television. I don't know, man. I think Tony Khan, what he just did tonight was just reckless. And someone even said on YouTube, this is guilty conscious, and it is. It is 100% him admitting. I don't know. I don't think he made the right call here. Now, that was CM Punk. But what about Jack Perry? Remember, it wasn't just Jack Perry that started this. It was a whole heap of problems. Tony Khan had to separate people who barely had time to be on television. Mero, barely been on television for a year. We didn't even know. Charlotte Flair's husband, Andrea, he hasn't been on TV in a while until recently. But now, because AEW had another show on Saturday nights, now you're going to put those stars on that show because they don't want to, because there's been a lot of issues. Here's who I blame. I do blame Tony Khan for this. He created this problem. Now he's really going to bear it because he put himself in this situation. He could have handled the CM Punk and the Elite altercation that happened a year ago. He could have handled this differently. He could have put his foot down on it. But instead, he let the wrestlers do what they want to do. He wants to be everybody's friend, but he don't want to be nobody's boss until his life got threatened. If it was Vince McMahon, they would never try to cross him. He'd be like, hey, pal, straighten up. I ain't got time to deal with your shit. Get your shit together. I mean, Vince would put a stop to that immediately. Tony, he's a pushover. Tony Khan is nothing but a pushover. And what he just did tonight is a prime example of it. Tony Khan don't know what the hell he's doing. And Jim Cornette had pointed this out time and time again, every time. And it's not just take Jim Cornette's word for it. Look at all the other wrestlers. Look at all the frustrations. Look at every single wrestler that you barely see on TV that was hired. Tony Khan has not been utilizing these guys. He's only been pushing guys that he likes. And that's only going to get worse from here. What's going to happen with AEW Collision? That show was built for CM Punk. The whole show was CM Punk's show. You need to put somebody over. This is a good opportunity, Tony. You're going to have to put a new face. And you better build this person up. And you better do it right. Because fans are going to make it or break it. It's either make it or break it for you. And at this point, I don't think Chicago fans don't even care. I don't think no one's going to be at these pay-per-views. I think the ticket sales are going to plummet. I mean, if you look at the AEW TV ratings, and I know ratings are not that important, but it plays a huge factor. If the average watcher is not interested, it's going to hurt your product. And AEW right now, yeah, you may have done successful, but after this altercation, it overshadowed AEW All In. It really did. And it's going to overshadow All Out. So think about this. Tony, you got a lot of groundwork. And I mean, you dug more work on yourself. This was not only CM Punk's fault. This was also Jack Perry's fault. This was Hangman Adam Page's fault. This is the Young Bucks' fault. If these guys would put their goddamn ego to the side and stop trying to think that they can run the show without anybody, because they can't. And to all those guys that I mentioned besides CM Punk, those guys are not big stars. They think they are, but they're not. If they go to WWE, no one would not give them the cheers that AEW is giving them. Now, everyone around the world knows who those guys are. But WWE audiences, they don't watch AEW. Only a handful of them. And some of those hardcore fans know them. But the general audience will not know who these guys are. So what do you guys think? I don't just blame CM Punk. I blame Tony Khan on this. This was all on him. He lost control of the situation. And now it escalated to this. What's he going to do with AEW Collision? He needs to put a new star. He better be pushing that new star. Say, you better be this Mero could be the new face of AEW. Ricky Starks is a good one. I don't know. I think Tony Khan, hate to say it though, he fucked himself up. What do you guys think?